Hi, I'm Newson and you join me on the banks of Alders Farm Fishery today, and it's cold. It's the coldest I've felt for a long time. The lakes are still partially frozen. They were actually fully frozen, really thick ice on Tuesday when we fished a match on here. And I'm actually fishing for a species that you wouldn't normally associate with this fishery and most commercial fisheries, and I'm fishing for perch. When it's been really cold, it's something I've done a bit here recently, is fish for perch. They're really reliable. You can catch them when it's really cold, and the carp and the skimmers, they become really difficult to catch. They ball up. They're only in certain pegs. So I'll decide to fish for perch if I think it's going to be one of them sort of days, and sometimes I'll fish for them as well if I'm on a peg that's not particularly good and you're not likely to catch enough carp or skimmers to compete. So it's worth having in your armoury for sure. What we've done today is we've fished with chop worms. I did that on Tuesday and I had a great day. I caught 16-pounder perch on Tuesday, which won the lake. On the Christmas match I did the same. I drew on the other side of the lake and fished for perch and caught 20-pounder perch, which won the lake again. So on days when there's no carp to catch, it's really worth trying. I've fished chop worms today. I've put one ball in at the start. Quite a few worms, but not too many. You certainly don't need to bring loads with you, and I put a little bit of dye and stuff in it just to get some colour in the water, and then I fished with a little segment of worm over the top and caught perch steady right from the start. And interestingly, I've only fed that one ball at the start right up until quite a short while ago, and I caught like 100 perch over that one little ball of bait. You'd think that they'd have eaten it all up, but no, they haven't. Sometimes the fish go a little bit iffy, go a bit quiet. You think they've eaten it. Instead of topping up on these venues that have got big fish in them, quite often I think a big fish has maybe just swum through your peg or is in the area. Perch back off for a bit. Worst thing you can do is put another bit of bait in. When its peg settle back down again, those perch come back, and then I've had another really good run of perch and the peg's just got better and better. Eventually I have had to put a little bit more bait in, but it's been really good. Keeps you warm when it's freezing cold. It's certainly better than sitting there and waiting for one bite or two bites. You might not even get those bites, so it's definitely worth trying. Rig wise, it's been really simple. I've only fished one line. I don't like to, when I'm fishing for lots of little fish like that, and these are full of perch and fish, these lakes, so you don't need to fish all over your peg. And I've just fished with a 0.4 gram float. It's a wire stem float, so I've got everything nice and stable. It's quite choppy, and it's does what I need it to do, because quite interestingly, as I've lowered the bait in, nearly every perch has took it on that last little lower. If I don't get a bite, sitting waiting hasn't just not worked. Lift it up, slowly lower it back in, and on the settle, 9 times out of 10 I've caught a perch. So it's the right sort of float for doing that. Got a number 6 Preston slip elastic. The fish are quite chunky, so you want to about swing them in. We've got a little bit of water here, so I need to set the hook as well, but it's still nice and soft, and it's just the job for what we're trying to do. And we've got an 013 main line, so it's nice and robust. I can use the rig a few times. We've got a spread bulk of number 10 shot there, just above a 6-inch hook length, which is 011 to a size 18 hook there. And just been fishing little segments of worm on the hook, being able to catch 4, 5, sometimes 6 perch on one little piece of worm, and it's been really good, really enjoyable. Right, just topped up for the first time. We've caught 100 fish over the first ball of bait, so it'll be interesting to see if they've come back. I'm just going to slip a little segment of worm on, ship out, and hopefully we can start catching some perch again. So yeah, it was interesting. I caught 100 fish after that first initial ball of sort of chop worm mush that I put in, and It did go a little bit iffy after I'd caught 40 or 50 perch, but I resisted the sort of temptation to top it up, which would be the natural thing to do, but I just felt that something had just disturbed the fish rather than the fish going, so I just give it a little bit longer before topping up, and the fish did come back, and I actually had another really good run and caught like another sort of 50 perch over it without topping up, when I could have topped up and mucked my peg up, to be honest. So it'd be interesting. And there we go. Oh, I've got one straight away. Nice little bite there. Nice chunky little perch. Worm's still okay. I always click the numbers of fish as well as I drop them in the net, because especially on these sort of venues, I think if you don't know how many fish you've caught and someone does start catching a carp or a couple of big bream, and or a bream and a carp, you need to know if you've got to stop what you're doing and fish for something else. But it just gives me a handle of what I'm likely to end up with. So if the fish, every bite normally comes as the bait is settling, and I haven't had a bite there, so I'm just going to just lift it up and slowly lower it back down again. And there we go. Took it literally as it settled, as I lowered it back down. That perch took that. So they're just sitting there over the bait, rather than actually eating loads of bait, which that would explain why you can catch so many perch over such a small amount of feed. But just when they see a bit of worm just move around in the peg, they snaffle it up. So I just get to the sort of bottom of my float, my wire on the float, and just lower it in. Oh, missed a bite. Lower it back in again. And missed another little dig there. A bit slower this time, waiting for a bite. Let's check. Yeah, my worm's still on. Lower it in again. And there we go, another perch. And a chunky little fish, so fell off. But they are chunky little fish. They are worth catching. Real little weight builders. And all the lakes here at Alders have got them in. They can be a nuisance in the summer when you're trying to catch carp and stuff on maggots, but this time of year they can be a lifesaver. Oh, bumped one. Only just topped up, so it's hopefully settled down. But if you just catch these steady, like I said, the chunky little fish, you're really surprised what you actually weigh in at the end. They're an ounce, 2 ounces. We've had odd better ones today as well. Tuesday I caught one £1, so you've also got a chance of catching a skimmer or a bream or something as well doing this. Right, we're coming to the end of the session. It's been a great day. I'm going to ship out, see if I can catch one more perch. Just lower me rig in nicely there. There we go, got perch on. Didn't take long. Nice chunky little perch. That's it. Going to wrap the feature up now so I can get home, get myself nice and warm, but well worth going out on your local commercial and giving this a try.